Hi, it's Dr. Robert Davis and I hope you're well. In this video I'd like to answer the question, is it possible for a business to live forever? Well, it's a really relevant question because the corporate graveyard seems to be stacked full of the names of the once successful and great. So, is it possible to avoid a premature organisational death? Well, here are my top 3 tips. Top tip number 1 is get to know the corporate illnesses that could destroy your business. And there are 2 illnesses. The first is called the premature aging syndrome. The second is called the exhaustion syndrome. Let's have a look at the premature aging syndrome. Now, surprisingly, this is driven by success. Yes, that's right. Success can give us problems if we don't manage it correctly. And there are 2 issues here. The first is overconfidence. Success breeds overconfidence in current strategies, and a view that the strategies that we use now and in the past can tackle anything that the world can throw at us. The second problem is that success tends to encourage an inward-looking focus. And if we have an inward-looking focus, we have a disconnect from the real world. And of course, we have a disconnect with strategies that might not work anymore. And let's move to that second illness, the exhaustion syndrome. The exhaustion syndrome is driven quite simply by relentless growth. Now that might be growth through a whole cascade of stretch targets. It might be a whole chain of acquisitions. Now don't get me wrong, growth can be good, but growth is only good if it's accompanied by the right motivated resources. And if we don't have the right motivated resources, then we get exhaustion in the organisation. And typically with this illness, the top of the organisation isn't aware of the exhaustion that exists elsewhere. And of course, exhaustion leads to failure. So that's my first top tip. For my second top tip, I would say use the right tool. Now, over the decades, we've seen a whole range of management tools: balanced scorecard, total quality management, business process re-engineering, just to name 3. But there's one that hasn't had the popularity that I think it deserves, and that's the organisational life cycle. You see, the thing is that organisations tend to follow a life cycle, just like us human beings follow a life cycle. And each stage of that life cycle brings different challenges and different crises. So if you know at what stage of life cycle your business is in, then you can use the life cycle model to predict the next crisis, tackle it proactively before it hits you. So that's my second tip. My third tip is to use team working. Now, people are, of course, your most valuable resource and arguably your most expensive resource. So why have them working in separate silos, doing their formal tasks day in and day out? Why not take the time to get them out of those silos, working with people that they possibly have never ever worked before, trying to solve issues, for example, like improving customer experience. It's a great way to rapidly develop ideas, innovations, and most importantly, create energy within the organisation. So, those are my top 3 tips to avoid a premature corporate death. If you're interested in this subject, please do see the links below this video for more information. And please do remember to subscribe to my video channel. Thank you for your time and take care.